Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll get this up and running 6:30. Cal here is also a SCORE volunteer, and he'll be kind of adding people in as they start coming in, and he'll let us go. But first, I'd like to introduce myself. My name's Spieker. Been with SCORE for 5 years. Moved here from Colorado 7 years ago, and considered it was a good move, and joined SCORE 5 years ago. I've started a dozen plus companies from scratch, created 15, 20 different individual products that now mostly in the fitness field that you'll find in just about every health club, personal training, and sports conditioning center in the world. You'll find something that I've designed and made. So I've got a little background in how to start a business, which is kind of why I lead the workshop. And am I ready to start a business? What we'll do here is we'll launch a PowerPoint that was created by SCORE, and we'll run through that. It's an hour and a half program. If you would, we'll get through and ask a couple of you to log, unmute and tell us what you're up to. Not sure we have time to do everybody who wants to do that, but we will get to everybody at the end of this thing. So if you got questions, anything comes up here that you want to take a deeper dive into, just write that down. And at the end of this, I'll stick around for as long as people have questions. I'll stick around and we'll discuss them. So with that in mind, let me get our PowerPoint up and get started here. Okay, let's start from here. How come everybody see this? You see it, Cal?
Yeah. You can see it.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm not sure why. I forgot which button it is to get it. It's just nothing but.
Go to slideshow.
I'm in slideshow.
And then
it says start from this one.
Yeah. Or start from beginning. Click on slideshow, man.
Hear me now?
You're back.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, we'll start with this, and I'll keep searching on this thing because I've done this so many times, and why is it not working today? I think they changed the layout for me. Yeah, I'm ready to start a business. Yeah.
Hey, Lee, I don't think you're in slideshow, man. I'm looking at your screen and I see the underline under home. Can you click on slideshow? Up in the toolbar, right? Yeah, right. Very close. There you go.
Oh, from your current slide.
And then go from the beginning.
Can you see that?
Yeah, now you're rocking.
Okay, thanks.
No worries.
Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. I'm here. We are. Am I ready to start a business? Our intent today is just to go through what it takes. And coming from my perspective, I'd like to throw in a couple things that I've learned over the past 50 years in starting, running, and selling businesses. I still run a business today that I make portable obstacle courses that I sell for youth fitness, sports conditioning, and athletic training around the world. So it's still got a little, a little fingers in the pie, so to speak, and what's going on in today's business. Um, if there is something that comes up and you really want to chat about, okay, here's something that we really want to make, interject, feel free to jump in, mute and ask the question. And this is, like I said, keep it in mind that at the end of this thing, I'll stick around as long as anybody's got questions. So a little bit about SCORE. SCORE is the nation's largest network of volunteer expert business mentors with over 10,000 volunteers, and there's 300 chapters around the United States. We are a resource partner of the USBA. We don't do loans, but we can refer people into SBA and help them guide them into where they would need to go for a SBA program. SCORE's helped over 10 million entrepreneurs through mentoring since 1964. The Nashville chapter, we got over 60 volunteers here in Nashville, one of the bigger chapters in the Southeast. We've also won a couple of awards as one of the most productive chapters in the Southeast. And we provide mentoring, counseling, workshops, special events like this one. There's a SCORE business show on Circle Network. On the website, it's score.org/Nashville. And I'll mention this a couple of times because I think this is really important. If you're learning to start a business, building a business is a skill. Running business is a skill. It's not natural to anybody. So if you're going to start learning it, treat it like an educational adventure. Go learn stuff. And the score.org.Nashville, under that the resource link there, there's hundreds of really quality videos that are educational videos on just about every content and every subject that you can think of. There's free downloads and templates for business plans, for financial projection sheets. There's workshops, video workshop. Actually, this workshop is a 30-minute workshop that we created, or as a video. I like to think that our live one is a little bit more informative, but there's a ton of really good stuff in there. And that's where you would request a counselor or a mentor. You'd find and sign up for workshops like this. Now that you're on our email list, you'll start getting notices of all the workshops that we do provide. Most are free. A couple of the more intensive ones and longer ones, there will be a slight charge for them. Again, the resource materials and guides and templates. Mentor is typically for the life of the business. That's the objective of SCORE. Once we get hooked up with somebody, I'm working with people. I've been doing it 5 years. I'm still talking to about 5 of my clients on a regular basis, and I've been doing that for 5 years. So we're around. We all enjoy doing this. As a rule, we're what we call ourselves as generalists. Like myself, I've worn every hat there is, from launch, funding, structure, legal, product development, patents, trademarks, marketing, B2C, B2B. I've got websites. My first website in 1999. So I've been doing this for 26 years online. How to retail, how to go through mass markets, distribution. So I've got exporting, importing. So I've got a lot of skills, but as a generalist, and just about all of us, like Cal, have been really deep in the industry, very successful in the industry, and we do this to share our expertise. And I think I speak for everybody in our organization. We all had somebody help us along the line. So paying it forward is our objective. If a generalist or somebody that you're assigned to doesn't have a deep skill, like I don't have a real deep understanding or skill in the legal side of this, but we have subject matter experts that we can call on for special needs like this. We also have access to all 10,000 of the other mentors around the United States. So if we don't have a specific skill, I had a client who wanted to do food truck. I've never done food trucks. Business basics are really applied to just about every business. However, food truck had some special things. I found a SCORE mentor in Miami who had started and runs 3 food trucks. Brought him in, co-mentored, and provided some real helpful information for that particular client. And there is no charge to clients. So we do regular scheduled workshops. The next one may be how to start a business, how to build your business model, plan, and strategy. I think that's a workshop you may be getting an email on right now. If you choose to build a business, we will dig into this business modeling a little bit deeper into our presentation today. But this is something you may want to really dig into because building the business model is a 3-hour workshop that is extraordinary. I only wish that 50 years ago that was something I could have taken. I think it could have saved me millions. How to write a business plan, market research, the power of generative AI is a big thing these days. Accounting software, overview and demos, understanding taxes. We do lunch and learns, one-time workshops, other events. We have a live event about every 60 days over at Brentwood, where you can come, or not Brentwood, Belmont University, where you could come in and ours 15 or 20 of the mentors will come in, and we just 50, 60 entrepreneurs come in, and we do a big meetup. So you got resources from veterans, what to look for in leasing, legal issues, email marketing, franchising, and these industry-specific forums. So as you can see, there's just an awful lot of opportunity to take advantage of what SCORE has to offer should you choose to go, okay, I'm going to start a business. Today's topics, we're going to talk about typical motivation. What is the typical motivation for someone to, why would they start a business? And there's multiple reasons that justified to get in and start businesses. We'll discuss those. Self-inventory, what are entrepreneurial traits? What does it really take? And what is going to be asked of you, and what kind of skill sets you're going to need to really be successful in entrepreneurial efforts and starting your own business enterprise. Business planning elements, resource evaluations, some other business considerations, summary, and then we'll get into some next steps. This thing, because we've got so many people in here, we're going to pass this one today, but we'll get into more of this as we get a little bit deeper at the end of this. I'd love to hear what you're all up and about. So what is the most common motivation to start a business, and a few thoughts about each of those? I need a job. That's a common one. Particularly today, there's an awful lot. We have, lots and lots. We're getting almost 100 requests a month now, and many of the people looking are leaving where they're at, or looking to transfer, or just saying, okay, it's time for me to get a job. I want to earn whatever I earn and what I put into this. I want it to build asset value for me, not for somebody else. You need benefits, long-term financial security. These are all reasons why people do start the jobs, but in all reality, starting your own company and your own business is not the fastest way to a steady paycheck. As a rule, it takes time. And if that's, that needs to be understood. There's a unicorn every now and then where people start something that blows up. Careful what you wish for, you just may get it. Because I've seen more than a couple companies get started, blow up, and go broke because they grew too fast. So you want a steady paycheck, starting your own company just has to understand generally it takes time. Health considerations, need for benefits. If you need health insurance and you own your own company, you're going to have to purchase, acquire it on your own. It's nice about working for big companies that offer benefits like vacations and maternity leave, which lucky if you get any of those, but some companies do take them. But if you start your own company, you're going to have to get all your own benefits on your own. What if you don't like the work? It's amazing how many people I have run into over my years that have started business. I've done consulting work that really started business because they didn't like the work. I would strongly suggest you take a hard look at this, because you start your own business, you'll work harder at this than you would at anybody else's job. So working, you need to really be dedicated to actually do the work. And then you've got the opportunity to either buy a job, which maybe go buy something that's already out there and buy a business that exists, create a job, start your own company, versus go out there and apply and get a job with someone else. Those are choices. Most entrepreneurs build their businesses based on they have an idea or they see an opportunity. One is I've always wanted to be in the fishing business. Dedicated people who fish have I've worked with people who've come up with some fishing ideas and concepts and want to turn that into a business. So they got real passion for a specific area. Could be baking, could be photography, art, anything. They've always wanted to do it and be in that area. I'm in the fitness business, and Lord, I've known lots and lots of people who always wanted to be, they're just so dedicated to fitness. They want to be in that industry. They have a hobby or avocation or turn into business. This is real common that people have, do knitting, do jewelry, make jewelry, want to turn that into a business. Trader's skill from prior experiences. You'd go back and somewhere along the line, you learned how to carpentry, cabinet making, painting. You've learned how to build things, create things, design things, take that skill and turn it into a business. One thing we do need to do, and that's take your idea and you need to properly test it and come up with what is called a proof of concept. Is your idea actually viable as a business? Not all ideas really work. One of the things you need to do is you need to create a product or a service that people want to buy. Way too many entrepreneurs go out there and build a business around things that they want people to buy, not what people want to buy. So you really have to be clear as to the difference between those two things. The objective here is to create something that people want, not what you want them to have. There's a difference there. So that's creating, you're properly testing, you give me your proof of concept. Satisfaction in creating a successful business can be very high. And I can assert to that. You get really successful, it's a high. It's right up there. However, if it doesn't work, it can be really low. So you've got to understand that not every small business takes off and becomes hugely successful. Some become moderately successful, some become marginally successful, and some just flat fail. And I've been fortunate. I've only had a couple that just didn't work at all. But just got to acknowledge the fact that that's a possibility and prepare for it. Your passion translates into sales and service, and this is even more valuable today than it has been in the past because of social media and the way we get our message to the market and into potential customers. Customers are looking for people that have a passion for what it is they're doing. They have authority. They have they come to these people with they come to you, to the customer, with real understanding of what it is they're doing and what the people want and why they want it. So passion really is helpful, and that's something entrepreneurs tend to have. And then you really have to have the concept, be able to follow through on your details in order to get your company up and running. Another way that entrepreneurs start there, they have a family business background in a field. They may have worked in the family furniture store for their whole life, the family construction business, and they want to spin off and start their own business. It's one thing that I see a lot of people creating their own business based on their family business backgrounds. A lot of people will start a business and they have a desire to involve family members and friends. And the reason it's said that's tricky, it can be tricky because, having business partners where your real objective in the relationship is based on finance and success, as opposed to romantic relationships. These kind of relationships are based on just data and numbers. So it can be done. People do it all the time, but it's done through really paying attention to creating the structure, the business plans, the buyouts, the business agreements, the all the different things that you could put together to document how it's doing, who's going to do what, how they're going to do it, exit strategies in case one of the member or friend wants out. So this is where a mentor can really come in and be really helpful and help you structure an enterprise where family members and friends can get involved and minimize the chances of it becoming a real sore spot should it not work. Having a succession plan for the next generation is not always smooth, but this is one thing. Many people get into business. They want to build something that's of value to pass on to their kids. So it's generational wealth. It's an ideal justification for being in a business. It's not always smooth, but it can be made much more smooth if you acknowledge the fact this is what I intend to do. This is my thing. I've got a 5, 10, 15, 20-year plan. And my plan is to pass it on to either a relative or somebody to the next generation. Start planning today as to how that works instead of waiting till all of a sudden you want to turn it over and then going back 10 years and trying to restructure the whole thing. So if you know that's what you want to do now, get it. You can make specific objectives and design in terms of your organization that will help make that transition much more smooth. Need to make sure the business model will provide the long-term economic support and security for others, particularly if you're bringing in 1, 2, or 3 other people. And you can do that, figure out how many can it support by really paying a lot of attention and a deep dive and into your financial projections. If you've not done financial projections, these are things that kind of identify, here's my market, here's how big my market is, here's what my product costs, here's how much I'm going to sell it for, here's my margins. I need to sell 1,000 of these things and make $100 a piece in gross margin in order to cover my expenses and pay everybody. So those financial projections can take and develop a business model and identify whether or not your idea can actually provide long-term economic security for everybody that you wish to get involved. A lot of people do this. You want to be your own boss. Sounds good at first, but you need to be realistic, because if you are your own boss, I think the thing is the buck stops with you. You look in the mirror, and that's who's everything is your fault because it's your deal. Yeah. So when you control your own destiny. So it sounds good at first, but you got to be realistic. Being your own boss has got there's obligations that come with that, because the owner does whatever needs to be done. Now, my second company was making boxing equipment for amateur and professional fighters called Toughwear. We did that. Company was really small, doing real well. The Olympics in 1976 brought back 8 gold medals. Boxing exploded. A year and a half later, I've got 3 factories and 200 employees and a bleeding ulcer. Because, and I'm 25. This is, you just had to do everything. I was everything there was need to be done. On weekends, I go in and mop the floors. So owners do whatever needs to be done. And that requires discipline and commitment. You have to be dedicated to what you're doing, because you just can't go, I'm just not going to do that today. That's kind of a ticket to failure. If it needs to be done, get it done. Because you're never too far away from work issues, particularly today. 50 years ago, you could leave on weekends and nobody knew how to get a hold of you. And nobody wanted to get a hold of you because they knew they couldn't get a hold of you. Today, you can be a home-based. I was in Africa 2 years ago for 3 weeks, took a computer, and every morning got up and handled customer issues and questions and processed quotes and invoices and managed shipping from Africa. So you're never far away from work issues today. And people know that. Your owner compensation, how much you make, is all dependent on your cash flow. Many companies, I do school program. Schools are just starting right now, so I've got nothing going on. So you've got uh, first, second, third quarter. Many companies make all their money in fourth quarter during the holidays, and then just break even for the other 3 months. So your compensation is depending on your cash flow. Could be good. There may be peaks and valleys in that. May not be anyone to exchange ideas with. There's something that a mentor, having a score mentor, somebody could call and say, hey, what do you think of this? I'm having trouble with this thing. How should I manage that? Mentors aren't here to give you direction, but we are here to give you options and help drill down and come up with solutions to issues that may be coming up. I also recommend anybody getting into a business that if you're getting into something like you're going to be a local notary public, call a notary public in Pittsburgh and say, hey, I'm thinking of doing what you're doing. Can I ask you some questions? Build your own network of other people who do exactly what you do, but don't compete with you. And I've found this to be really, I've done this in everything I've ever done, is to call people I don't know and just say, hey, I'm doing this now, getting into this field. I see you've been real successful in it. Would you share some ideas with me? People, as a rule, I found, are really open to doing that because having you to talk to can help them. I've been having some of a coughing. If I start coughing, I may just mute for a couple minutes, or 30 seconds, but I will be back. So I apologize for that. But who is your boss? And I'm a real believer in this one. Your customers are your boss. Your customers are your most valuable asset. If you build a company and you want to sell it, whoever buys it wants your customers. That's what they're going to pay for. So how do you need to keep your customers happy. They need to be, loyal and supporters of your business. You want your customers to talk about you at lunch, and softball games. You want them talking about you all the time. That means you just need to treat them with exceptional service. And we'll get into some ways to do that as we get into this thing that I think are really helpful. But your customers are your most valuable things, and coming up with ways to make them happy is really, really important. Like they have a problem on a Sunday morning, getting the answer to them. That's just that important. Then if your business is going to require employees, who is it actually interfaces with your customers? It's your employees. I've owned health clubs. I've spent more time with my employees training them on how to deal with customers just because they're the ones talking to them. You've probably run into this in life, that you've run into somebody that's working for somebody who really treated you poorly, and you put that right on the company. That's really important. If you've got employees, I'm personally, if your employees can't make a living doing what you're doing, what you're having them do, then maybe rethink the whole business plan. And investors and partners. There's another one. If somebody's going to give you their money and trust you with it, I've always placed them above me. My investors and partners always got paid before I ever did, because if you ever need to go back to your investors, the fact that you were taking care of them and you placed them above yourself really gives you an opportunity to get more money from them, or to sell that business and start another one. And you're known for being a really good operator. So taking care of those people, those tend to be your bosses. You can get a company in which the intent is to increase your return on investment, because you've got $25,000 in a bank now and you're thinking of putting it in a bank. You can just put it in an investment product, and you can get 5% on it, 5% return. The objective in getting into your own business is to invest capital in a business for higher returns versus traditional investments. And whenever you're looking at higher returns, now you've all of a sudden, all higher returns come with additional risks. Now, I would say at this point, the fact that you're actually on this, on this workshop indicates you don't think you know everything. And I've invested in people, sadly, and people who think they know everything and don't want to learn. Acknowledging the fact that you need to go out and learn stuff, and you're open to gathering knowledge. Like I said, it's a matter of, this is a skill. You can get a PhD in business administration, always learning, soaking up the how-tos, what's going on, the history of business, who did this, how did they get to that point. Really becoming a student of business really helps people succeed. So analyzing potential, this is helping get the greatest return on your investment, and you can develop and understand what your business valuation is. And this all comes through really deep dive into financial projections. How much time will be required to return your original investment? Now, this is built into your financial projections. You put 25 grand into it. You're really not making any money until you get that 25 grand gets back. So understanding how long does it take to return the original investment is another part of this thing. If you put 200 hours into developing, learning, writing business plans, doing financial projections, doing contact calls, talking to mentors, doing all the work, that's time. Time is money. I suggest that you put a dollar value on your time and add that to your actual cash and your capital investment. And then how much time is going to take to get that back. And that can help you determine pricing structures, market opportunities, and as such. So that's thinking like an investor. That's analyzing the risk versus the reward, really weighing how much risk here versus how much can I expect to see as a reward. And of course, this one's what we don't like to think of, but what if your investment's not recovered? This is absolutely this is real. You can put a lot of money into things, and then for whatever the reason, it may not work. And you just have to, from a mental perspective, I found that if you go out and say, okay, I'm going to do this, but always having a backup plan. Say, if this doesn't work, I can always go do this again. And having that psychologically, understanding that I've got a backup plan. This means you'll be able to make decisions and do things without, just freezing up, because there's something that you could do back. Should the decisions not work. Then coming up with long-term and short-term strategies to get to increase that return on that investment. Entrepreneurial spirit is a desire to see ideas converted into reality. We want to try something new and creative. We've identified through something we've done, and we go, God, if we just had this tool that would do this, everything I'm doing would be just better and faster. Go create that tool. It's a service-based, these people are delivering this stuff, but if they just did it in a different way, it would be more appealing to these people over here that they're not paying any attention to. So you go out and create it. So you're trying something new or creative. Entrepreneurs tend to have a high tolerance for risk because what you're doing is risky. Security is not a concern. I don't buy that. Security is always a concern, and it has to be. I've been fortunate. I've never been married, so I've never had to worry about feeding anybody but me. But if you've got people, you still get into business, but you got to be cognizant of the fact that building some kind of a safety net for yourself is important. You have a strong belief in your own skills and capabilities. an idea generator, but maybe not a good operator. If that's the case, if you just go, okay, I just don't like doing, the accounting. And I don't like crossing T's and dotting I's. I tend to just, I'm the idea person. I'm the front person. I'm the one in front of everybody. I'm the talker. I'm the pitch man. If that's the case, find somebody who is a good operator and partner with them. Develop an exit strategy. I think this is really important too in your business plan. What are you going to do? As in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Identifying an exit strategy today, you can start building towards it, doing things operationally, legally, financially that get you to a point where you could exit. So if you want to sell the company, whatever it is you're doing, you want to sell it in 5 years, you need a really 5 years of documentation as to what you did, how you did it, where it went wrong, what caused the growth, what caused the losses, to be able to show to a prospective buyer. That's really important. So if your exit strategy, you know what your exit strategy would be. If you're going to pass it on to one of your kids, you may not need all that documentation for selling it because you're just going to pass it on to them. But how do you get them engaged, train them so they could take over and actually be successful in it? So understanding your exit strategies are really important. This goes back to having your plan B, what I just talked about. If things don't work out, no, if everything just doesn't work, I could go back to working at Joe's, whatever it is. That will help you make decisions because you get there, oh my God, if this don't work, I'm done for. Knowing that if this don't work out, I can go do something else will really help you make decisions and make them a little easier. So this is a question just for you, and this is a really good time to be honest with yourselves. This isn't on a test, so no one's going to see this. Because jumping into starting your own business is a big leap. And from a financial standpoint, personal standpoint, psychological standpoint, physiological standpoint, you're going to put your whole self into this thing. Do you feel your motivation is strong enough to proceed with the hard work involved in launching a new business? Like I said, this is a good time to be real honest with yourself. This is an entrepreneurial self-evaluation. You will get a email back once this is over, and it'll include this entire PowerPoint. At the end of the PowerPoint, all these slides that you could fill out will come in black and white, so you could print them out and actually fill them out. And we'll go through that, some of that when we get to the end. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But where would you fall in these categories? Low score 1 can be a concern. Obviously, I think it's pretty obvious. But if you put down 5 all across the board, that could also be worrisome because I'm not sure you're being honest. And this is another place to be real honest with yourself. Drawing on your own experience and how you've been working today. If you've had a job, is your work ethic? Is it a 1? If it's a 1, then maybe that is a concern. But there's one thing about us as humans, we can get better at anything we choose to get better. You make a conscious decision to make your work ethic, turn it from a 1 to a 4, 1 to a 3. You can do that. You just decide to, and you just do whatever's necessary to make that happen. Experience in the field and or education. If you don't have all the education in that particular field that you want to get into, go get it. I had a client here in Nashville who refinished old antique travel trailers, and he wanted to take 10 of his trailers and put them out and turn a little resort. We had no resort experience. So he got a hold of a campground and went in and offered to work for free for 3 months to gain experience in how to run a hospitality business. And he's working towards actually getting his own resort up and running. So if you don't have the field experience in the field or education, figure out how to get it. Are your organizational skills good? Time management skills? Can you make a decision without all the facts? Which is basically how small business and entrepreneurs do it. AI is only good so far. It'll tell you a bunch of data, but you still have to make the decisions. And your decisions earlier, if you've got that backup plan, making those decisions without all the facts become a little easier. Can you learn from mistakes? Amazing how many people I've worked with that as soon as something goes wrong, the first thing they do at point at somebody else. Not my fault. Yeah, they did it. I didn't do that. The small business people that are successful, if there's a mistake, they look at it, you know, identify it, correct it, and move on. You learn from them. Acknowledge the fact that, hey, that went. I'm the reason this didn't go well. I didn't train my people well enough. I didn't write my instructions on how to use it weren't correct, weren't good enough. No need to point at find other people's mistakes. It's everything. The buck stops with you. Need to be persistent because you need to push and push and push. And if you're in sales and trying to build a business, you need to get in front of people. You have to ask for orders. You do need a support system, and this is important too. If you've got a family, if with either with husband, wife, kids, brothers, sisters, mom, dads, whatever, get them to really be behind you and support you because there will be pits. The rule is there will be peaks and valleys. And when things aren't working as well, you may get a little down. Money could get really tight, and you need to have your family behind you and understanding. Because if they're not, and all of a sudden they're creating more issues, that can be a challenge too. You need risk tolerance, and risk is since uncertainty. It's not good or it's bad. Every morning we wake up, everything we do has got a risk involved. But you can manage risk. And one of the things you're doing right now is you're sitting through a workshop, and that's managing risk. It's learning things to minimize the chance of not succeeding at this. Generally, the risk is the greater the risk, greater the necessary reward. I like to use apps for your phone. Average is about $250,000 to create an app for a phone, a good one, and let Apple put it on or Google to run it in their stores. If you put one on, it works. You will have your own. You quite possibly have your own yacht and your support yacht, and your support yacht has a support yacht, and you have an island. But it's a lot of money, and only about 3% of apps actually make any money. So that's great risk, but great necessary reward. And each business risk has three components. The magnitude, how much can you lose? You can lose it all. Maybe you can just lose half of it. But the magnitude is a component of risk that you can understanding these. The probability, how likely is it to happen? If you just charge into this thing willy-nilly without any real understanding of what you're doing, probability is quite high. The fact that you acknowledge the fact that you need some probability has just been lowered considerably. The exposure, how can you insure yourself against loss? And that's not insurance. That's minimizing your exposure by actually knowing what it is you're doing and really digging in, knowing your customers, knowing your product, knowing your competition. That can minimize your exposure to the risk. So here's a couple of questions for you. Do you have to score high in every category to start a business? Absolutely not. Just acknowledge the fact that, hey, I need improvement in this area. Or if you don't, just go, this is something I'm never going to be good at. Acknowledge the fact that I'm never going to be good at it. Build a team with complementary skills and manage them to get the desired results. Because you can bring in people who are really good. They have no intention, have no desire to stand up in front of a crowd and pitch a business or go cold calling. They're just happy, just sit behind a desk and do books. and do customer phone calls and just hand customer service issues. Build a team. How can you improve in the areas? You can always improve just by choosing to do so. Make a conscious decision. I can be better at this, doing everything necessary to get better at it. A mentor can help you identify those things and how to improve, or go to these resources. Lots of resources. It's one thing that in today's world, everything's online. It's amazing. Just ask AI, how do I do this? And it'll come up and it's pretty good at telling you what to do. And it has no, it's pretty blunt. And do this because I have no skills at this. How do I do that? It'll come up and says, well, here's what you need to do. And it'll get real clear with you. So, and often moving from low to neutral brings more benefit than moving from neutral to high, because you don't need a 5 on all in every one of those categories to be successful. You just need to be operational. You need to be able to manage them and understand what all those elements require of you and how they interface and connect with what it is that you're doing. So going into business planning basics, and this is kind of the meat and potatoes of businesses. You're going to start a business or a service, and you got to identify what customer pains your product and service, which is your value proposition, will relieve. What gains can it create, or how can I improve my customers' jobs or lives? This goes back to your providing customers with something that will help them alleviate a problem, solve an issue for them, relieve a pain, improve their lives, make their life easier. That's the objective. So that's the core. If your product or services will do that, that's the core competency of every product and service in order to have any viability at all. You really need to know who or what is your competition and what are they doing and what is your unique advantage compared to what the competition is doing. Your unique advantage could be better pricing, faster delivery, better service, longer warranty, more backup training, could be prettier, bigger, smaller, more color. There's all these things. All these things can be unique advantage, but you really need to have one, because in today's world, there's lots and lots of competition. And when people are looking at things, they're going, okay, there's 10 things that are all saying they'll solve my problem. Which one is really have the most appeal for me? Then how do you market that value proposition, and what resources and activities are required to create, market, and distribute that value proposition? So once you've identified what your value proposition is, what's your unique advantage, how do you get that to the potential customer so you could get that value proposition in front of somebody? How can you build a model that incorporates all these elements? And that takes us to the business model canvas. You also get a black and white version of this that you could print off and actually start writing in. But until we get to that, and we'll get it breaks down in further slides, but the objective here really is two things. Is these are the 9 elements that you really need to understand, and each one of these elements of running a business are different, unique, but they all interface with each other, and you really need a deep understanding of each and every one of them and how it interfaces and connects and affects the other ones. And the 2 most important things, which is the yellow star, is your value proposition. That is, what is it you're going to provide somebody that will make that person or that company's life better, solving a problem for them, and then breaking down and identifying. And you can have a dozen things in a bullet point that your value propositions. You've got this faster service, it's smaller, it's more effective, it's unique, It's patented. You can have all these value propositions. So there's more than just one you can have. And then you go to your customer segments. Customer segments can be, you can have a dozen customer segments. My obstacle courses, it's a portable obstacle course. I sell them to physical education teachers. So I've got PE teachers. I sell them to health clubs for adult group exercise programs like CrossFits, things like that. I sell them to sports conditioning people like that. I also sell them to parkour and world chase tag participants, and all four of those are customer segments, and you talk to each one of them differently. You do not talk to a PE teacher and talk about ligaments and muscular engagements. They could care less. PE teachers just want to know, is it fun? And is it easy to use? That's all they want to hear. When you get to the sports conditioning people who are dealing with high level people who are making $20 million a year, they want to know exactly how this will affect that particular person they're working with, how it will address their global movement capabilities, how it will increase their flexibility, how it will affect their endurance. You get into adult CrossFit, it's just how's this going to be applied to the teachers? So you can have multiple market segments. You can break your market segments down to geographic, psychographic. In fact, we're going to get into another slide that just has that in, and we'll wait till we get to that one. And then cost structures, key partners. Let's just break down and get to these things, and we'll get to each one of these. It's like your business model questions are, how do you do what you do? What is it that you do, and who do you do it for? And then how much do you do it for? How much does it cost? So those are all questions that this thing will generate for you. Like your value proposition. What is it that you do? What is it your service is going to help somebody with? Who are you doing that for? Those are your customer segments. They could be ethnic, religious, age groups, geographic, like I said, geographic, demographic. They could be educational. You could market your product to just PhDs, just master degrees, just people who never got through high school. You can choose that. And by getting really niching yourself down to somebody that you can really relate to and you can talk to on a personal level with credibility and authority, that's kind of where we're going in today's world. What kind of customer relationships can you develop? Do you do buy 9, get 1 free? Do you create loyalty programs? Do you have buy it from me and get access to special content on my website? Acquire this and you get a 10% discount on your next order. These are customer relationships. What kind of channels do you use? Are you going to go B2C, business to consumer, business to business? You're going to wholesale, retail, go through distributors, export. Is this an international effort? Those are all different channels, and each one of them operates in has different structure and different requirements. So understanding how you're going to get your business, your service to your customer segments. How are you going to do this? Your key partners. Partners are your finance. Who's going to finance the thing? Who's going to maybe build your website? Who's going to warehouse your products? Who's going to fulfill them? Who's going to do all these kinds? Who's going to ship them? Identifying all those key partners, your key activities. What are you going to do for? Are you going to advertise? Are you going to do trade shows, farmer markets? You're going to go to trade, like I say, advertise. So how are you going to get your value proposition to your customer segments through your key activities, your key resources? You're going to need fulfillment programs, these kind of things, vendors, who's going to supply your products to you. So understanding all of those things, then you really need to know what your cost structure is. How much is that going to cost to get that product to you? What's the warehousing charge? What is the return rates? Are you going to have, customers tend to return stuff. What is your return rate, and how's that going to affect your costing structure? Because once you get it back, you're going to have to just destroy it, or have you got a secondary market for returns and used equipment or used product? What if somebody doesn't pay for it? You sell something to somebody and they just don't pay you. That's all got to be understood and factored into what that you're costing. And then revenue streams. The revenue streams, you can have multiple revenue streams. This is something I attend my health clubs. You have signups, monthly dues, revenue from your juice bar, revenue from your pro shop, revenue from personal training, revenue on special events. So you've got all these are different revenue streams. Your business or service may have 10 revenue streams, and each one of those revenue streams is addressed and needs different special treatment, or maybe they're all the same. But identifying them and what it is that you need to manage them, you need to understand. Maybe you have 2 revenue streams, you identify 10, but you only work on 2. Or maybe you just work on 1 and get it up and running, and then start adding these revenue streams as you grow. But you could have a plan in your business plan identifying which is first. You may find, throw this in, just get to this next one. Here's something that I've seen over and over and over again. Right now, in your head, you know exactly what you want to do. You want to take this product and you want to take this service and you want to deliver it to this group of people because you're sure it'll work there. This is a journey down a long hallway. I was told this maybe 50 years ago, can't remember by who. It says starting a business like a journey down a long hallway. Right now, you're looking at the last door at the end of this hallway, and you're headed down there. As you make this journey, should you decide to start a business, as you make this journey, stop and open every door on the way. Somebody may stop and go, hey, I love what you're doing. Could you tweak it a little bit and supply it to my 1 million customers? And you've got 2 choices. You can go, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going down here. That's that door. That's where I'm going. Or you can stop and go, oh, yes, I could do that. More companies end up doing something they had no intention of doing than not. It's happened to me many times. And I'm going, here, this is what I'm going to do. And somebody comes and says, if you just make that a different color, these people over here would buy the hell out of it. Okay, I pay attention. People will bring you ideas and comments and opportunities. I think it's valuable to really don't put on blinders. Listen to everybody, because as you make this journey, you never know where you're going to end up. You can go through some of the largest companies around today. This goes from Microsoft, Google, Facebook. None of these people's intent. Amazon, Bezos got into business to sell books, and he was doing well selling books. And somebody, maybe I don't know who it does, says, "Why don't you sell book covers too?" Never thought of that. Sure. What about bookmarks? Got it. Reading glasses. Cool. All of a sudden, he's done quite well. But that wasn't the intent. It's got started, and all of a sudden opportunities started to show up based on his original concept. So back to this, your key partners, your vendors, your other business advisors, people like mentors, key activities. What do you have to do to create market and deliver your proposition? How do you advertise it? Do you need brochures, literature, ads, TikTok videos? These kind of things, these activities, resources. What must you have to own? Do you have assets? Do you have employees? Do you have buildings, leases? Defining your products and service from a customer perspective. This is giving customers what they want, not what you want them to have. What is the pain resolved, the gain realized? How do you improve their job or their life? Your customer relationships. How do you get referrals? A big thing. Every time you sell something, ask for a referral. You have to ask. People today really don't have, it's not natural for them just to, oh yeah, let me refer. I love this company. Let me tell all my friends about it. You need to ask them. I think this is true, and a lot of people do too, that we're an influencer-based society. We've turned a great deal of our population is waiting to be told what to do, where to go, what to think, and what to buy. We are influencer-based. We are getting our information from people we follow that have credibility and authority with us, and we believe everything they say. So asking people to refer you, how do you get repeat business? How do you create a unique experiential opportunity every time you touch a customer? How are your channels? How do your customers know about you? How do you deliver it? Who's your customer? Demographics, psychographics, your ideal buyers, cost of assets, people, activities, and partnerships, revenue streams. So all these things are really important. And there's some materials at the end of this thing that really dig, even go into greater depth of this. So the reasons for doing this business model, well, one is to help you identify, will your idea actually work? Then if you're going to do a business plan, which I strongly suggest everybody do a business plan. I do a business plan for everything I've ever done. Because there's a reality of this thing. If you take your ideas, put them on a piece of paper, and memorialize them there, you can look at them and go, that's a good idea. Or you can put it down and go, well, that idea sucks. You can put a line through that thing. And if you're like me, all of a sudden that idea is not running around in your head any longer. True entrepreneurs have got a million things running through their head all the time. And the ability to get the junk out is really helpful. So writing it down in a business plan is really valuable. And then I take my business plan out every 3 months and review it. And you can look at it and go, okay, I was going to do this. I put some money and some effort behind it, tried this. The return is not what I would hope. I'm just going to, move it down on, take it off the top of the pile and move it down a little bit, or I'm just going to quit doing it completely. Or you say, that was a good idea when I thought of it, and it turned out to suck. So let's just get rid of it and pivot and go do something else. Which is your visual and dynamic in your business model allows for pivots. You understand what's going on. And you may find one market segment that's really responding to you. You go, oh, okay, let's jump and really focus on these people, and kind of we'll catch up on these other markets afterwards, because things can take off, based on stuff, likes, views, social media, partnerships, relationships. You can evaluate new offers and changes. And then you can also watch your competitors' models. It's really key. Understand what the competition is doing. Don't underestimate. You need to know what your competition's up to, and really take care of them so you can respond to things that they may be doing. Once you have an idea of customers' needs or wants, do you have the necessary resources? So do you have the financial capital to invest? One of the things that really affects financial capital, particularly in today's world, is personal debts and credit ratings. Do you have able to cover the cost of living and family support needs? So if you're going to quit a job and start building a business, how are you going to cover the daily and monthly cost of living and family? Keeping up with the rent or the payments, the mortgage, and everything that's necessary. Do you need outside capital sources? Lots and lots of businesses are started from family. I think the majority of them are started with investments from friends and family, which can work. I said a lot of them. I've done it, but when I've done it, I wrote up loan documents. If I took a loan from somebody, we had a structured, honest to God, loan document. We both signed it in front of notaries. And so we knew exactly, and there was a line item in there that says, this is a investment in a risky operation, and 100% of all your money could be lost, which is basically a stock certificate. If you're structured to subchapter C, corporations, you're going to sell stock, that stock certificate will say that you could lose all your money. and that gives qualified investors by federal standards. But I would do that with all friends and family that borrowed me money, because I wanted to know if all of a sudden it came to pass where we were hurting or the company was going to be dissolved, that they knew and you go, well, hey, where's my money? He said, well, we signed a piece of paper. It may not be the end all, but it can sure help minimize problems. Other assets to secure debt, particularly in the environment today, it's even becoming more of a challenge. Some of you who logged on earlier, SBA SCORE is funded by the SBA, and SBA is being defunded. Their budget's been cut in half. I think SBA came and did a presentation out of their, I think there are 10 SBA employees in Tennessee. They're down to 3, covering the whole state, which is unfortunate. SCORE, all of us in SCORE, we've already found and we're raising money outside capital to support SCORE from corporations through sponsorships like like PBS used to do before it got defunded. So we're planning, we're going to be around, but it's just tough today. I mean, the capital markets are really tight. If you've got a lot of money, like collateral, the banks will talk to you. But startups are really difficult to finance. So that's why friends and family are the traditional and the most reliable sources for money. There are grants around. We do have some people who understand how to do grants for special operations and special enterprises, but we could sure help that as a mentor. Current employee income can help finance. One of the things, if you don't have everything necessary, time constraints, and you don't have all the revenue necessary to actually get it up and standing as a standalone entity, you can bootstrap it. I don't know if you've heard of bootstrapping, but bootstrapping is a method of running a business on after work and on weekends. Doing it with minimal investment. Working with a gentleman who's got a great product idea for baking, and we're building use product one at a time using printers. And he's not going to make any money on each product, but he's developing, is the market really going to respond to him? And if all of a sudden everything starts to work, then he can actually go out and start building tooling, because you're 40, 50,000 bucks in order to build an injection mold to build the product he's making right now. It can be printed at one at a time. It's expensive, but doing what's necessary in order to get the business up and running, see if it's viable. Do you need physical facilities? Nashville's growing it's just growing. People who own warehousing and facilities are really, they know it, and rents and leases are quite high around here. So that's got to be factored in. Do you need people for what it is you're going to do? Are the type of people you hear that you need available to you? Are they affordable? Can you actually acquire them? Do you have access to mentors? One thing to guarantee here, you do have access to mentors. The planning process goes through, one is a vision statement. So you write down, where do I want to be in the future? That's future oriented. Where do I want to go? What do I want this to look like? Do I want to franchise it? I want to build it up and build multiple locations. Do I want to build it up and just have a nice, comfortable income? All those things are justified and reasonable expectations for what it is that you want to do. Important, just write them down so you know where you're going to go. Your mission statement, in order to get to where you want to be, is what you do, how you do it, and then why you do it. 3 questions that I really encourage you, if you start this thing, if somebody says, well, what's your business? You can explain what you do, how you do it, why you do it, just like that. I mean, have a real clear understanding with clarity, an answer, total clarity that what's going on there. Statement of strategy is your overall method or plan to bring around those desired future goals. So this is basically your business plan. So this is going to identify and outline all the things I need to do in order to get to those goals. In that business plan, you'll put detailed steps to achieve the goals. So that's your tactical plans. This is going out, raising, I need funding, I need vendors, I need supplies, I need samples. Where am I going to get it? How am I going to get it? What's going to cost? Those are the detailed steps to achieve the goals of your company. And then a feedback loop. You take all those results of those steps, can all be reflected in your financials, client feedback, and this is really important too, since you really want your clients to know you and love you and trust you. And objectively, if you can get your customers to know you and love you and trust you, they will do just about anything, and they'll buy just about anything you want, and they'll tell their friends about you. So you sell something to somebody, call them. How'd you like it? What do you think? This whole idea of people sending out an email afterward, give me a rating. In fact, it was not just recently I bought something online, and they sent me the deal, and I gave them 3 stars. And I sent back, and they wrote me a thing. He says, "Oh, thank you for that. Why'd you only give us 3 stars?" I said, "Well, one, you didn't even make the product. This was one of these ceiling fan companies. All you did was you shipped me somebody else's stuff, which is what I paid you to do. Nothing special. You just did what I paid you to do. Why would I give you 5 stars as an excellent for doing what you were paid to do? Do something a little extra. Make it create an experience. Send me a fan, and then the next day send me a thank you card. Do something unexpected, and that's when people go, "Whoa, I didn't expect that." And I'm sure going through your whole life, you've run into these things. You've bought something, and then maybe they did something extra. You've gone to a restaurant and they gave you this. The Chinese restaurants found this is kind of common now, but there was a time when you first did this. At the end of the meal, they give you a bunch of um, little fortune cookies. And people go, "Whoa, thank you. I didn't order those. We just appreciate your business." Now, if you don't get a fortune cookie at a Chinese restaurant, you think something went wrong. But that was experiential. All of a sudden, you got something you didn't expect. So if you can take your product or service and design it, create it, and deliver it with something a little unexpected, or a little something special, a little something unique that creates a memory, you will get your customers to know you, love you, and trust you, particularly if you talk to them and appreciate them and let them know they're appreciated. And that's value. That's really where businesses start to grow. And then management observations can cause adjustments to any and all the above. Just after you do it, this is as you just start to grow these things, you'll go, what I'm thinking here isn't working. It can't be gray. It needs to be black, or those kind of things all come out in management observations as you start to grow. Other business considerations is, do you buy a business? Do you build your own business, or do you acquire a franchise? All good ideas. Is it a home-based, or are you going to need a place to go operate your business? You're going to need a brick and mortar. Is it going to be in terms of structural? Is it a sole ownership, or is it a partnership, or is it an LLC, subchapter S, or C Corp? Won't go through this entire thing, but it does give you kind of the pluses and minuses. If you're going to build your own business, it has no reputation. If you buy a business, for better or worse, the reputation comes with what you just bought. If you acquire and get a franchise, the reputation is going to come from the franchise. If your customers, you build your own business, you have no customers. If you buy an existing business, you get the customers that the business already had, and you may need a non-compete to make sure whoever you bought the business from doesn't open up right next door and take all their customers, and they go back to whoever it is that they they knew and the person that they had been working with forever. Franchises within the guidelines. Cash needed, financial projections, ongoing fees, no if you build, no owner financing. And some, I had a gentleman client who had been working with a locksmith for almost 20 years. He basically claims he ran the business, and the owner really wasn't sharing any opportunities with him. It was really disappointing. So he was, I'm just going to start my own locksmithing business. So I suggested, I said, well, Mark, before you start your own business, call all the locksmiths in the area and just say, hey, I'm looking to get in the locksmith business. By chance, would you like to sell? He found somebody, because a lot of people have built businesses and they don't have anybody to pass it on to, or they have people who don't want it passed on to them, are trying to get out of these things. And he just actually found one. Says, hell, yeah, I'd love to sell it. Guy financed the whole business for him. Now he owns his own locksmithing business, and the owner is and he's paying for it over time through owner financing. Can happen. Proven models, assistance, major drawbacks. So these are things to look at if you're looking to build your own business, buy an existing business or franchise. So home-based or outside, and that depends on the nature of business. This is fairly common, is you can't do diesel mechanics in a cul-de-sac. So HOA and home-based businesses, HOAs have a lot to say about what kind of business you're going to do in there. The overhead of that business, what is it going to take to operate that business? Do you need machinery, equipment? What is all the elements necessary? How much do you specialize vehicles? Understanding and writing down and understanding all the things necessary to get your business operational. Do you have zoning restrictions? Back to the diesel mechanics, you can't park semis and cul-de-sacs. Build out infrastructure. Are you going to need a facility to operate? I've worked with a number of people who want to open beauty shops. There's a couple people I've worked with who want to do daycare centers that need facilities. And if you're going to need a facility, are you going to need to do build out, take a space and build it out so it meets your needs? So what kind of infrastructure is going to be necessary? Can you add within your lease? Can it be, will the landlord build it out and add it into the lease? Some landlords will do that. Some will say, no, I don't do that. You do your build outs, you do all the infrastructure build out. We sign a 5-year lease. Lease payment's going to be a little lower because I didn't factor the cost of your build out into this. But at the end of this thing, everything you built is mine. It's real common in the health club business. You take a space, build a health club in there, sign a 10-year lease, and if you don't want to do it, you leave. Everything that you built stays with the building. Lease commitments today in a very competitive market. You're ready to sign a 5-year or longer lease. New starts are very difficult. They want personal guarantees. They're not going to take your business guarantee. Are you prepared to sign on the lease and be responsible for that property for the next 5 or 6 years? It used to be in non-competitive markets, 3-year leases were fairly common. I've not found, I don't lease any longer here, but I did when I first moved here. The best I could find was it's very expensive footage and a 5-year lease with a personal guarantee. Did build into it, which I hardly recommend, and a mentor can help you negotiate leases, is to get the ability to sublet. So if whatever you're doing, you need to move or whatever happens, 2 years, you got 3 years left in the lease, you've got the ability with the landlord's approvals to move sublet it to somebody else. So you're not stuck with all the lease commitment. This is a great time if you just need office space. This is ideal time with all the home business that's taking place, home-based businesses and big companies allowing people to work from home. They have a lot of office space that they're not using. And I've done this with office space and in warehouse space. I had one enterprise, one of my flooring companies. We sublet 5 offices from a big legal firm that had downsized. I got offices with desks, really high-end desks, high-end credentials, plants, artwork, phone systems, everything decked out really nice. And I was paying about 50 cents on the dollar for normal going rates on a month-to-month basis. So good time to, if you need office space, it's a good time to look for that kind of thing. Also with warehouse. Used to sublet a warehouse from a guy who did potting soil for, and I would come from Colorado, potting soil for pot. Uh, Booming business. I mean, he was really doing well, but he had a big warehouse, didn't need it all. So I got about 2,000 feet of it, and I ran my business out of there for 2 years on a month-to-month basis at a considerably less than what it would have cost me to lease my own property. Do you need work, equipment, and storage space? That all factors in understanding what is necessary to actually get you up and running and effective. So based on your legal structure, you're looking at as a sole owner or multiple owners. Most common legal structures are sole proprietorship. So if you're doing just you and you're just building your own business, sole proprietorship may be it. It's all you need. If there's 2 of you going into it, just a partnership. If you've got whatever it is you're doing, there's a potential liability issue that somebody could get hurt using your product or using your service or doing what you suggest they do. Limited liability corporations give you the corporate veil to protect your personal assets. They are more expensive to run and operate. The money still operates, it all flows through to you personally, but you do need to file a tax return on an LLC, which you won't have to do in a sole proprietorship or a partnership. If you're looking to actually sell stock, I mean, stock certificate and bring it in, institutional investors, S Corps and C Corps. C Corp is the ones that'll take you to Wall Street if that's your intent. If you think, I'm going to make millions of this thing, go to Wall Street and blow it up, you need a C Corp. S Corp are a little bit smaller structure. Each one of these things can, once you go to the U.S. IRS and register, or in the state of Tennessee and register your business as a sole proprietorship, and all of a sudden, I'm going to need an LLC. It's a matter of just going in and clicking LLC, and you got one, and then registering your corporate papers with them, and that's how difficult. So you don't have to start with an LLC and start paying all the expenses while you're starting your business. Make sure you got something up and running, but you do need a business and that EIN number from the feds if you want a business, bank accounts, and dealing with the banks and what they require. But these are the pluses and minuses of these particular issues, and there's much more detailed information as we get to the end of this thing. So there's a summary of some of the key factors. Do you have the proper motivation? Is there a match between the value proposition and the needs and wants? Back to this thing. Are you providing people what they want to buy or what you want them to buy? Do you have access to funding, including the cash to make it beyond break even? Then I really suggest, if you think I'm going to need 30 grand to get this thing up and running, make sure you have access to 40 grand. Very few of these things actually ever come in under budget. And it's a real shame that all of a sudden you're up and you're 90% ready. You've run out of your original capital, estimate, and you can't. And then you got to go hunt for some more money to get this thing finished. So figure out what you need and then find some fudge. And so just to have a little backup plan as to what happens if it doesn't come in under budget or on budget. Experience in the industry and education. If you don't have it, go get it. It's out there. Make sure your support system, your family and advisors are 100% behind you. Time to devote to the business. You have a strong work ethic, the ability to make decisions in the absence of certainty. Are you ready to proceed? That's what's next. If so, you can go to SCORE. There's a big blue button. Look for a mentor. They'll ask little, what is it you're looking to do? I'm one of the assignment people. So we get those things. I'm doing it this week. People will call and say, hey, I got one guy, he's trying to acquire a ranch. We're actually a farm out here. Keep coming back to Colorado, trying to buy a farm and build a barndominium on it. So we assigned him to somebody who's actually got a little experience in that. So we'll try to do that, but will get you to somebody that has the skills, and then they can hunt for specific things. Attend more workshops. Next one may be start a business modeling. Highly recommend that one. How to write a business plan. Quantify and obtain the capital. Another thing, a mentor can help you develop and preparing you going out for the necessary capital. Implement your plan, launch your business, monitor your business, pivot as needed. And if no, and this is okay. This is a justified action step right here. Modify or defer your plans until you are ready. No sense in jumping into this thing if you really all the things that we've talked about, you're going, okay, I'm ready. Put it off for a while till you are ready. Makes a lot of sense. So thank you. We do appreciate you taking your time for this. You will get, and here's these things I'll talk about, your business entity comparison charts. So this goes through sole proprietor, general partnerships, limited liability partnerships, C Corps, S Corps, all these things, and go in formations, durations, liabilities, operational. A lot of this, depending on your potential financial position, your asset base, a lot of people, good thing is just get a hold of your bookkeeper, your accountant, your financial advisor, and go, okay, how should I do this? Something a mentor can also help you with, and just give you some guidance. So there's 2 whole pages of business entity comparisons. There's your business model canvas, self-evaluation forms, goes into the decision-making process. It just more content on what that vision statement's like, the mission statement, the statement of strategy, business principles, business creation, 4 operating principles, people, process, systems, and structure. So all this will come to you in an email shortly. You'll also, in that email, you'll get an evaluation form. And we'd be greatly appreciated if you would fill that out and send it back to National. That's how we became, we get recognized. And it's important for National to know that, hey, what we're doing out here actually has value to the people that we're doing it with. So I appreciate that. So with that in mind, and you got a question, feel free to unmute and ask away. You're welcome, Mark. Also looking at some of the notes we put in here.
How do we, I guess, get connected like with a mentor?
Yeah, go to it's score.org/Nashville. And there's a big blue button that says find a mentor.
Okay.
And just it'll drop down and ask you kind of what it is that you're looking to do, and then where you're located. And the default is the whole world. There's a button right below it, say Nashville.
Okay.
And then you'll get a Nashville base. And if you don't do that, you may end up with a mentor in Portland who won't know anything about Nashville, and then they'll send it back to us. That's something
Okay.
that still works, but that's how easy it is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? If there's no other questions, and if you've got any,
as always, good job, Lee.
thank you,
There you
Cal.
go.
Folks, if it's a good time, if you got anything, unmute and say something. If not, then we'll sign off for tonight. I wish everybody a good evening and a good rest of the week. And good luck in whatever you choose to do. So, see y'all.
Bye.
Okay, bye.